Greetings and welcome to another British Guy Reacts video. I don't know why I've started going brr, brr, but a British guy reacting to British versus American words for home objects. Links in the description for the one, the only, the legend, the man, the myth. That is Lawrence Brown. I'm sure you've all heard of Lawrence Brown from Lost in the Pond. I have to say he's becoming one of my favourite YouTubers. Lovely guy, links in the description, check him out, support him. If for some bizarre reason you haven't heard of him, check him out. If you like reaction videos of a British guy talking rubbish, sound like I'm trying to start a motorbike, or a dog. Where am I going with this? Don't forget to subscribe with the notification bell on because I am posting every day. And if you are a returning viewer, subscriber or member, bloody love you. You are my cup of tea or coffee with biscuits. Love it. Lovely. I don't know why I did that. You know what it's like to drink a coffee or a tea. Maybe not a tea, but certainly a coffee. Now listen my jibber jabber, now let's get on with the video.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to words. Specifically and scientifically, words for stuff found around the house. And so once again, in order to do this, I'm going to have to get up off this chair and go from room to room. No, just cut. I'll go in my own time. Like a lot of people, I keep my cleaning implements in one of these. This is what Americans would call a closet, but sometimes in Britain, we refer to this as a cupboard. Now, since cupboards/closets can get quite dark on the inside, it's quite a good idea to have one of these around. Partly because it makes it easier to look inside the closet, but also because I like to play horror pranks on my wife. Anyway, in Britain, this is known as a torch, whereas in America, it's a flashlight. My cleaning implement of choice is one of these. I think we all know what this is, but we don't all have the same word for it. In Britain, we might refer to this as a vacuum cleaner, sure, but we might also refer to it as a Hoover. Now, any Americans watching this might be thinking, that's not a Hoover, it doesn't have the Hoover branding on it. So here's the thing, Hoover is an American company that was formed in the early 20th century. It just happens that they were around at the same time as President Herbert Hoover and FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. And the popular belief is that they all sucked, especially the vacuum cleaner. But that's beside the point. The Hoover company marketed their product in Britain, and at some point the word Hoover became a genericized term for vacuum cleaner. And
how did he get away with this?
that's what I mean when I talk about memos that got lost in the pond. In America, you will hear the term vacuum cleaner, but some Americans will call this a sweeper, not to be confused with the defensive position in football.
So yeah, sweeper is a defensive position in soccer or football. More so early sort of 90s we used this formation, but enough of that. But sweeper, I've not heard of sweeper. If someone was to say to me like a sweeper or a sweep, I'd imagine it to be like a brush with a handle or broom and you just sweep, but not a sweeper. Wow. Thank you, Lawrence. I've learned something there.
Soccer. Now, one of these motorised suck machines is going to be useless without one of these. In case you're not familiar with plug sockets, who is not familiar with plug sockets? Perhaps people that don't call them plug sockets. To be clear, that's what I call this, having grown up in Britain. But in the US, they might be referred to simply as a socket or an outlet.
Wow, outlet. Not heard that. Well, I've heard of the word outlet, but I've not known a plug socket referred to as an outlet. Wow.
In fact, either word might be used at different times to denote different applications. This contraption might be described as a socket when you're putting a plug into the wall, but as an outlet when describing the electricity that comes out.
Yeah.
And if you're excited to learn more about the physical differences between British and American plugs, be sure to subscribe and hit my bell because that video is coming soon.
Sorry, I got a potty mind.
Now, here's a hypothetical scenario that I definitely just made up. What if you need to vacuum in the other wing of your house, but the other plug sockets, for whatever reason, aren't working? Firstly, call maintenance, but in the meantime, you might want to use one of these. You can't see it here, but this is a very long wire that allows you to move devices over greater distances. In Britain, we might call this a power extender, or I was known to call it an extension lead.
Yeah, I only use extension lead. I've never used the term power extender. Never used that term. But yeah, extension lead. Sometimes they come in reels as well, but you guys know all this.
There, it's not too big a stretch to arrive at the American term, extension cord. And you join me now in the lounge, or as Americans would call it, the living room. We call it that as well. I actually just wanted to point out that we call it lounge and also apparently drawing room, although only about 7 people use that term.
Yeah, like I said, we don't use drawing room. It's normally like if there's like a mega posh person that's got a mansion or a castle, they'll have a drawing room and a cellar or stroke basement.
Anyway, you can probably hear some sounds in the background. That is my voice, Tara's voice, and that of Lavluka.
But it does when I say it, brochure.
Brochure.
In other words, this is now a reaction video of Lavluka's reaction video of Lost in the Pond. I know. This is really meta and it's difficult to talk over you, Lav, so I'll just let you talk. Anyway, the important thing here is the device I'm using to watch it. In both Britain and America, of course, we often refer to the television as the TV. But in Britain, we also call it the telly, because we just love putting the letter Y on the end of an existing word and saying, here you go, here's a new word, right? Think brekkie for breakfast, chocky for chocolates, and Laurie for Lawrence. And of course, this is the 21st century. If I want to change the channel from Lost in the Pond to Lavluka, I don't want to have to get up and do that manually at the TV itself, right? I've got a huge coffee table in the way, not to mention a huge coffee cup. So that's why we have one of these. Where I come from, this is known as a TV remote, right? And you might hear that in the United States too. You might also hear remote in both countries. But I was 26 years old and living in Indiana when I heard a Midwesterner refer to this as a clicker. To this day, I'm not really sure whether clicker is a Midwesternism. So if you live in the United States, but not the Midwest, and still call this a clicker, let me know in the comments below.
Clicker, no. There was a film called Click, wasn't it? I think it was Click or Clicker with Adam Sandler. But yeah, we just use TV remote. We normally just say the remote.
The first word difference to note about a kitchen is possibly the stove. That's the word that Americans perhaps use most commonly to describe the entire unit. In Britain, to describe the exact same thing, we might also use stove, perhaps even oven. But growing up, I was always fond of cooker, which linguistically pairs well with clicker. Second thoughts, do not cook your TV remotes. Of course, both Britain and America have different names for different parts of the cooker. The top part of the oven, which you might use for boiling eggs or creating impressive B-roll, is known to Brits as the hob. In America, you'll typically hear stovetop. Of course, when it comes to actually eating the food, you can't just use your hands unless you're American. Sometimes you're gonna need a knife and fork, and don't get me wrong, it's not those words that differ, but the collective term we use to describe them. In Britain, these would be described as cutlery, or as I like to say, cutlery, because I'm not human. In America, the collective term for the exact same objects is silverware, or more specifically, flatware, because I don't really know why.
Flatware. Never heard of that saying before. Do you guys use flatware?
Spoon doesn't look particularly flat, but from space, neither does the Earth. And then once we're done with the
Oh dear.
it's time to do the washing up. It's a boring job, but somebody's got to do it. Come here, cat. Dishes. Where you going? Yep. But this part in the process comes with quite a few word differences. Firstly, you've got what the British would call washing up liquid. In America, it's dish soap, or as Dawn is trying to push on us, dishwashing liquid. And you can't wash dishes without water, which in Britain comes out of a tap. A common synonym of this in the United States is faucet. And then you dry it.
Faucet. Now it sounds like some kind of medical instrument that's used to sort of open up a cavity. The way my mind works.
Thing off with what the British would call a tea towel and the Americans a dish towel. It looks like a really terrifying puppet. Why are you shaking? Oh, that's me. I'm doing that. Well, here we are again, you and me in my bathroom, except I'm the only one who's actually here and you're just watching, which is worse. All that to say, I'm going to keep this brief now. Have you ever used one of these? It's not a pair of underwear. It is in fact a piece of fabric with which you wash your body. Now, for the sake of time and because the FCC said that I couldn't do this, I'm not going to show it in action. I'm just here to tell you that in Britain, we call this a flannel. In America, it's often referred to as a washcloth or a face cloth. That ironically, it looks like a puppet without a face. As with the kitchen, the same applies here. We have faucet versus tap. And I couldn't do another segment in the bathroom without talking about the toilet, because that's what I do. Sure, both countries use that very word, but each is absolutely loaded with synonyms. So in Britain, you've got loo, bog, latrine, lavatory, lav, porcelain firing range, and bog.
Yes, 100%. We do that. Although sometimes I call my toilet the throne.
Okay, you have the John, the commode, the pot, the potty, the porcelain god, the crapper, and my personal favourite, the bowl. And finally, you may remember in my bedroom video from earlier this year, I talked about how America has walk-in closets and Britain has wardrobes. Now that's not really relevant for this video because the two things are quite different. This was just an excuse to show off our new walk-in closet. These aren't my dresses, by the way. My dresses are over here. Come inside. I do have one last thing to show you, and don't worry, it's not a pair of jorts. Now, I know that this...
Jorts? Is that like pants? In terms of, sorry, underwear. I know you guys, you refer to pants as what we would say trousers. That makes sense. But we say pants as basically underwear. That makes sense. But what is jaunts?
It seems sensationally weird, but in this storage facility behind me, I keep things like my underpants. The drawers are see-through, aren't they? Just pretend that what you see here isn't plastic and rubbish, and just imagine that it is in fact made of mahogany. These are just temporary placeholder drawers that we've had for 4 years. Anyway, the point is, in
temporary
Britain, I would have called this, or its mahogany equivalent, a chest of drawers. In America, no need for any chests around here, it's just drawers. Or apparently some Americans refer to a chest of drawers as a bureau, which would confuse the British and the French for different reasons. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below some of the word differences that you're aware of that pertain to the house.
Wow. Full credit to Lawrence at Lost to the Pond. Absolutely brilliant. What did you think of the video? Is there anything you'd like to add to that? I have actually teamed up with one of my friends in North Carolina. We've actually done British and American words and the differences. Putting a link up. I think it's there. Link's going up here. If you want to see that, it's original content, click that link. It's really, really good video. Had a lot of fun making it. Took a long time to put together, but yes, check that out. If you are new to the channel and you like reaction videos, don't forget to subscribe with the notification bell on because I am posting every day. And if you are a returning viewer, subscriber or member, love you. If you'd like to support the channel even more, we do have a join and members section. Click the link in the comments for more information on all the fun, packed, rammed, stuffed, fun perks. And all that leaves me to say is take care, God bless, see you in the next video.